Sure, LEGO's downsizing has been met with some mixed results, but I gotta say, the new 75399 Rebel U-Wing Starfighter just looks fantastic. The new smaller scale still looks like the U-Wing, but is so much better for play and display, and the new reliance on tiles just makes the last set look so rough. But just because this set is really good, doesn't mean it's great. From inaccurate doors, no landing gear, and even completely missing windows, a couple easy mods should fix this set right up. Hello everyone, I'm Minifig1210, back with another edition of 6 Easy Mods. Spring-loaded shooters.
No.
Okay, now before we get right into fixing those shooters, there's actually several other issues in this area we can tackle at the same time. The biggest one to me was the lower windscreen. One of the unique things about the U-Wing is its lower windscreen that allows the pilots to see what's directly underneath them. However, in this set, it's just a decoration that you can't actually see through from the cockpit. Additionally, the cockpit of the U-Wing doesn't actually feature any good flight controls. You have a sticker with a couple buttons, which doesn't really bode well for flight for our minifigure pilots. Now, all of these issues can be fixed with a few mods in this one area, so we'll tackle them all at once. To start, very carefully separate the top half of the set from the bottom half of the set so the two halves look like this. Let's start with the bottom half and fix the shooters and the window. Start by removing these two side plate assemblies from the ship like this. Then removing this 4x10 plate from the center along with everything on top of it. Now add a 2x2 plate here, followed by two 1x10 plates along the sides like this. On the front end, attach two light bluish gray inverted tiles to each of the 1x10 plates. After that, add the gun assemblies back on the ship on either side here, followed by a 2x3 plate connecting them like this. Once this is completed, we can re-add some of the mirroring parts from the 4x10 plates onto the two 1x10 plates. To fix up the shooters, simply replace them with a 2x2 rib brick. Two plates also work here if you don't want to replicate the engine detailing, along with a 2x2 white plate on top. With that fixed, we can move on to the top half of the set. Here, we'll remove the 4x10 plate, and in its place two 2x3 plates along with a 4x6 plate. With that, you can reattach the two halves of the set together, and then move into the cockpit. Here, we'll re-add the brown seat from the set to make it look more finished off. As for the flight controls, use a 1x2 jumper tile, a 1x1 clip piece, and a bucket handle, and you can create this sub-build that's fairly accurate to what we see in universe. However, there is a drawback that this will block some of our new window feature. You can fix this by removing the sticker tile and then replacing it with a couple other printed tiles, so that way you have the control panel effect while also having a more open window. Moving away from the cockpit, there's three things I wanted to tackle when it comes to the rest of the set: the inaccurate doors, the missing landing gear, and the inaccurate engines. Let's start with the simple stuff. The engines. U-Wing engines have a very distinctive cross design in it in the center, not this simple vertical one that LEGO gave us. To fix this, rip out LEGO's engine design until it looks plain like this. Then use a 1x3 tile and a 1x1 tile inserted between the studs like this. Now this is technically an illegal building technique, so a legal way to fix this is to use a 1x2 round jumper tile along with two 1x1 rounded tiles. Place a black clip piece onto the jumper tile like this, followed by the pneumatic T-bar from the set clipped into place. Repeat this across all four engines to finish out the mod. The next piece I wanted to address was the landing gear. Unless you've got a stand, for the most part this set is going to be displayed landed, and not having any landing gear just makes it look off. Thankfully, some pretty small attachments can replicate the spindly landing gear from the films with just a handful of parts. For the front landing gear, start with the utensil ski piece for the base with the stud on top. Then add a white antenna piece onto it like this, with the white stud with the hole on the top. Keep this flush with the top of the antenna bar so we can place a 1x1 modified bar plate onto it like so. Into the bar plate, clip a white battle droid arm like this with another 1x1 bar plate in white at the bottom of it like so. You can then adjust it into whatever shape you think looks best. Then cap it off with a 1x1 bracket. Finish it off by attaching a 1x4 modified plate onto the bracket like this, keeping it centered. Once you've done that, repeat this build mirrors to build the second front landing gear. Take these builds and attach them to the wings here, where they'll look like they've just folded down for landing. As for the back landing gear, they're gonna be a lot simpler to do. Start with another utensil ski piece, followed by a 3-long bar. On top, add a 1x1 stub with a hole in the center, capped off with a 1x2 inverted slope. Build a duplicate of this strut, and then attach them to the open studs on the back engines here. After that, flip the set over and gently put some weight on it until the back landing gear sink in enough to let the set sit flush with the ground. With the landing gear done and the rest of the set up to par, it's time for the big one. The doors on the U-Wing look incredible, but function very differently from the source material. Instead of a smooth sliding function, they just fold down rather awkwardly. Fortunately, I think I found a way that both gives us the sliding door feature while also maintaining the angle on the door without making it too boxy. Fair warning, it can be a little fragile, but it's also really easy to do and not too parts intensive. So if you're going for a cool display, I think this is going to work great. Now, before you do this mod, remove the new landing gear struts entirely so they don't get in the way. We'll need to adjust them before putting them back on the set anyways.
This is where the fun begins.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Now the first thing you want to do is take off both the doors from the set. Then start the modding by taking off this 2x10 plate running along the belly here. On the far end, place a 2x3 plate here. Afterwards, remove the gray ball joint connectors in the center, followed by the 2x6 floor plate. Then temporarily remove these large wedge plates from the side of the ship so we can remove these bracket assemblies, the 1x4 brick, this modified bracket, and the 2 translucent red studs, or until the back of the ship is level with these tan bracket pieces. Once you've done that, attach 2 1x4 dark bluish gray plates onto the back like this, followed by 2 elbow plates back to back in the center. Flank them with 2 1x1 light bluish gray plates, and then place a 1x4 light bluish gray plate on top, before capping it off with a 1x2 plate. You can then reattach the bracket assemblies we removed earlier along with the 2 large wedge plates. Once you've done that, attach a 4x6 plate into the center of the ship, followed by the 2x6 floor assembly from the original set. You can then reattach the 2x10 tile from the belly of the set right back onto the set like this, with the 2x6 tile running along it here. To secure the floor in place, add a 1x2 plate here along with a 2x2 curve right on top of it. After you've done this, move on to the doors we removed earlier. Keep in mind that the yellow tile is supposed to be facing the front of the ship, and you'll have to mirror these door mods to accommodate for this. Start by flipping this door around and temporarily removing the 2x6 plate from the bottom. Once there, remove the ball joint connector from the side facing the rear of the ship. Replace this with a 1x2 plate and reattach the 2x6 plate. Finally, attach a pair of 1x2 plates here and here, and then mirror this build for the other door. Off to the side, take another 2x6 tile piece with a ball joint connector on the end, secured in place with an inverted slope. Now, attach one of the doors to this assembly and slide it into the groove we created on the ship. Now the second door will just be a mirrored build along with the ball joint connector and the 2x2 inverted tile onto the bottom like this. You can then attach this build onto the open studs on that 2x6 tile and complete the mod. Now before you go reattaching the landing gear, simply put another dark bluish gray stud onto each of the front landing gear and readjust the rear landing gear to be the proper height for when you have the ship landed. With that, I'm much happier with how this U-Wing has turned out. The cockpit and landing gear are much more realistic and the front window actually works. And the doors are functional without being overly blocky. But with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more content in the future, subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll keep it coming for you. Until next time, keep on building.